Spawning in the bottom left position. This could be it for him. He is a blue Zerg player. He's playing on Quantic Gaming. He needs to win this to stay alive. He is HyuN. And spawning in the top right position as our Red Protoss champion from Ukraine. He is really been doing an amazing job here. Did way better than I expected versus HyuN. He is WhiteRa. This has been a pretty awesome series of games. My mind's been blown, in all honesty, by how well this has been going. PvZ in Heart of the Swarm has really evolved a lot, and a lot of people are say, okay, well, the new Protoss Air Death Ball. Well, we've seen HyuN, he's been able to punish that. He's been able to work really well, and those abducts don't just work versus Colossus. They work versus Tempest. They work versus Void Rays, and with great control comes great maneuverability, and that's what the Vipers allow him to have. So I've really been enjoying watching these games, from not even just as a viewing perspective, but from a playing perspective. Makes me scared as a Protoss. But we're going to have that spawning pool go down at 14 supply, so pretty standard timing, nothing unusual. We're not going to see any really fast Zerglings like the last game, most likely. WhiteRa's got that Nexus going with these probes. He's lined that rally point right up to the mineral line, so we're going to see a Nexus first out of WhiteRa. This map, Howling Peaks, I'm a little bit worried for WhiteRa. To be fair, a Nexus first is not bad on this map for the same reason that expanding is difficult. And that's because if he tried to go for a forge here, walling this off is actually a really wide ramp. Walling this off, damn near impossible until he's got a solid saturation on two bases. So, WhiteRa has to be very careful. This is a map where speedling attacks are really, really strong in the early game because you have to get a wall up here. WhiteRa will have to build his tech out in the open if he wants to use it as part of a wall. His gateways will have to be out in the open. He'll be very exposed. And versus Hydralisks, having walls is actually negative. It's actually bad. Your Hydralisks just attack the wall. The cannons don't have enough range to fire at Hydralisks on the other side of a wall. So WhiteRa needs to be very careful and smart about this game. HyuN, I wonder has he been saving this map to say, okay, well, if I'm about to lose this match, I pick this map, get a win, and keep pushing forward and take the rest of this series. This is not going to be an easy game for WhiteRa by any means. This map is strongly favors Zerg, and here we have HyuN already going for this fast third hatchery, so he's playing very comfortable Zerg versus Protoss style. He's not worried about early aggression from WhiteRa because of the Nexus first. He scouted it. He sees pretty much everything. He's like, okay, well, here's the only two pylons that you have. I don't see a cybernetics core. Where are you going to put it? You don't want to put it out in the open. He might try to use it to wall off this area, though, so that's what it's going to be. And like I said, that's a big wall to have to do. He's going to need to put another gateway here, pylon, and this backdoor area is going to be open for quite a bit, but WhiteRa's going to try to go scout out a little bit more, check for that third base. It's important that there's a third base because he knows that HyuN, well, if HyuN goes for that two-base lair play again with the Swarm Host, WhiteRa can't afford to play greedily, and playing greedy may be the best decision for WhiteRa, at least in terms of tech. Taking a third base, the third is also crazily exposed. This is almost impossible to hold. I think pushing forward, the biggest thing that WhiteRa should do, I think, is you want to get a wall here, maybe some cannons, and then let your army push towards your opponent. Expand towards the Zerg player. Make them uncomfortable with how close you're getting to them. Like that awkward high school dance where no one really wants to talk to each other, but you're all in a confined space. That's what WhiteRa wants to do. He wants to get up close and personal. If he takes an expansion here, he's going to be open to a lot of harass. But if he takes the expansion here, he can move his army forward with his expansions. He can put his Colossus at the front end to stop any harass. He can put his cannons up front. He can bring his air army, which will probably end up being really slow. And I feel like the air army, it worked really well for WhiteRa. It's all going to come down to metagaminess because HyuN could very easily go for Mass Hydralisk to try to beat the air army, but I wouldn't be surprised. I think we've officially reached a comfortable point in this show match where neither player, you can't really call out what either player will do. HyuN has had a lot of success, though, and all of his success, for the most part, has been with the Hydralisk composition. We haven't really seen much Mutalisk play. The only Mutalisk play that there was got shut down really, really hard in game number 1, if I recall correctly. So we're unlikely to see that pretty much ever again. Mothership Core and a couple of Stalkers trying to put on some pressure to this third base. There are some slow lings. The lair has started for HyuN, and like I said, though, in the last game, we said everything was delayed. This is kind of what HyuN wanted to go for, but as we see, the lair is started much earlier than the 8-minute mark. And these Stalkers are going to pressure, and the cool thing is he, of course, can always do the mass recall to get away. If the Zerglings catch a Stalker, though, that can be huge. He manages to box one of them in. It's taking a lot of damage. He needs to be super careful. This is out. Oh, my goodness, the Zerglings barely going to block him. No, he's going to get away. That was really close. And here we have that rock tower. The Queens are just going to try to block him out. Imagine if the Stalker... Oh, man. Kill the rocks? I've got some like weird fantasy where I just imagine these rocks killing everything. It reminds me of the GSL, the GSTL. If any of you guys missed it, I can't remember exactly who was playing, but it was awesome. And yeah, these Stalkers have to run. They have the same movement speed as the Zerglings, but they need to be very careful. Meanwhile, WhiteRa's opening up Fast Immortal with attack. I think he's going to go for the Immortal push again. And in all honesty, with how hard it is to take a third base, this doesn't really surprise me. It looks like WhiteRa wants to just end this. Unfortunately, starting a pylon right as he gets supply blocked on this Immortal, so he will not be able to get that out when he wants to, and that can actually really hurt his push. So he's just going to get a robotics facility. I think that's a smart idea. He could have gone, of course, for 2-base timing, but the lair's done. HyuN, he got his Overseer in, poops out that Changeling. He sees everything. There's nothing... of course, another Overseer passes by the natural. He knows everything that's going on in WhiteRa is base, and now he also sees the third base that WhiteRa's gone for, so I think that's a good idea. The supply block, I don't know if that's why he did this, but not a bad decision. I love how far the corpses slide on the ice maps. Blizzard really paid attention to detail, guys, with the new physics engine that they've implemented into Heart of the Swarm, of course. I have that on for you here so you can see all of it. All of that sick, extreme level physics. Almost wish we had a Terran versus Zerg matchup. I hope we get another one soon, just because I love seeing the Banelings explode and send marine corpses everywhere. But there's a lot of Zerglings out for HyuN. He doesn't have Zergling speed yet, though, so I feel like this is some sort of awkward quasi-defensive Zergling pack because he can't be harassing with it. And like I said, we have WhiteRa walled this off with 2 gateways, so this is going to be fine. He's going to probably need to get a cannon behind this to stop Zergling harass, but that's what it looks like we might see. There's a bunch of Roaches and Zerglings head to the left side of the map. He's pulling back, though. I'm not sure if HyuN wants to commit to this or not, but it'd be very, very scary. And here we have Ventral Sacs and Pneumaticized Carapace, which is going to be Overlord drop and Overlord speed. This is very, very interesting setup that we have here. And we also have a Spire, so it looks like HyuN has decided he wants to go for that, Roach, Ling, Corruptor. I feel like we should have Hydralisks mixed in here because of how good they are. Composition to help deal with this. And Zergling Speed's about to finish, but it's not done just yet. He doesn't want to engage into force fields. The first Colossus, I believe, is out. Actually, I don't know where it is. No, it's not done yet. I don't know. For some reason, I thought the Colossus was done. Force fields, though, he's getting this set up preemptively. There's a lot of Lings. I think a split surround would actually work really, really well for HyuN. The Zergling's poised outside of the base. Now, keep in mind, there are 2 time warps available for WhiteRa to slow these Zerglings down, allow himself to get into a really good position. So he needs to be very, very careful. And we have the Colossus coming out now, finally. And I have to say, WhiteRa's got a pretty strong army here. And like I said, he wants to expand towards his opponent. He doesn't want to take the riskier base on the left side. He's taken the forward base, and this allows him to protect his expansion, but also have his army in a good position to defend the rest of his bases. So WhiteRa looks like he wants to move out now with this force. And here we go. We have a bunch of Roaches and Zerglings prepared for HyuN. He's maxed out on Roach Ling. He may just try to get a big surround and overwhelm this. He has to be very careful, though. There are force fields, tons of them available. If we look at the sentries, so many of them, almost full energy on all these sentries here. And he's actually loading the Overlords up. He's going to try to drop right on top of them and bypass the force fields. Really great play by HyuN. Basically just trying to completely bypass the defenses of WhiteRa with all of this supply. This kind of reminds me a lot of some Zerg players that I know. But of Masan style of mass doom drop on top of the army. HyuN is not going to stop moving forward. He wants to unload everything all over WhiteRa's forces. He gets on top of the Colossus with the Roach Ling. The area of effect units are dead. He has a full surround on all of this. HyuN, the monster, consuming this Protoss force. All of the force fields expanded. The Overlords perched atop, dumping their creep all over these Protoss units. It's like a hurricane. And, well, he's going to back off with the Roaches now. The Photon Overcharge gets activated, and a lot of damage done by HyuN there. Traded pretty much all of the Zerglings. He still has a lot of the Roaches left. He could actually get away. The Constructible Rocks, though, have been set up, so there are only so many areas he can run in, but he took out a lot there of WhiteRa. WhiteRa's big tech units are all gone. He actually only has one Immortal. He lost pretty much all of his sentries, used all of his force fields, lost all of his Colossus, and there's no other follow-up tech. He's going to get another robotics facility, but there's no Templar tech. I don't even know if we have a Twilight Council, so this is going to be really difficult. There isn't a Twilight Council, so WhiteRa's stuck on 1-1 with no tech. He can't invest his gas into anything to help him for the late game. He needs to build up a big army of units right now, but that might not even be possible. We have a Baneling nest on the way, more Roaches. HyuN looks like he wants his Remax on Roachling, possibly go for another Doom Drop, and with Banelings, a Doom Drop would be incredibly scary. HyuN, he's roaching these rocks, bringing them down, and he might try to move into the natural expansion, but I feel like he could just push this main force if he does another drop. But he wants to wait for the Banelings. He's making a bunch of Zerglings to fill out the rest of his supply. He basically wants to do a big Roach Baneling Doom drop of Doom, of course. I just want to say Doom about 3 more times. And now he's loading on up. He's not waiting for the Banelings. I think it could be a bit of a blunder. The splash damage, there's almost no reason not to have it. And here he goes. He's going to move in. Photon Overcharge activated again. Some of the Roaches drop behind the force fields, but he's going to get on top of that army. And there is so much here for HyuN. He may be able to just completely overpower WhiteRa. Another Colossus finishes that can get away from the force. He still has 2 of his Colossus, but one of them does fall. He's one in the mineral line of the third base. There's simply too much here for HyuN. He overpowers all of the Stalkers. This last Colossus trying to make a stand, but will it be enough? It does not seem to be that way. HyuN just going to snipe this robotics facility, though, and back off. He's killed all the important tech units and leaves WhiteRa with scraps. He's done a ton of damage. I'd still like to see the Baneling drops, but I think the Zerglings were actually just ran in to supplement. So this drop play from HyuN, it's been working really well. It's a very exciting thing to see. Of course, you can get Overlord speed on hatchery tech. You don't need a lair to get Overlord speed anymore, but you do need a lair to get Overlord drop. So we're not getting tactics that special just yet. And HyuN still knows everything that WhiteRa's up to. He sees, okay, your natural's mining out. I've pooped your third with creep, and your main base, well, you just got a Twilight Council up. You don't have any real tech. You're getting a Stargate, sure, but there's no Templar Archives. There's no Dark Shrine. There's no +2 researching for either armor or weapons. You're just trying to crank out Colossi because you can't deal with what I have. And that's one of the reasons why HyuN is such a smart player. He's just pushing WhiteRa over. It's like the big bully, just knocking him back. Every time WhiteRa tries to get a force built up to defend or expand or make a push, he just smashes them. And 38 Banelings being made, guys. This is about to get crazy up in here. He's going to load all these up into the Overlords, and this is going to be the Doom drop of the Sentry. I wonder if he actually has Baneling speed. He does not, but you know what? You don't even need Baneling speed when you're going for a drop like this. He needs to load the Banelings up first. Don't want to get ahead of yourself. And all the Roaches are going to hit the front, and the Banelings are going to hit the back. Well, the Banelings are actually just going to hit everything. But he actually had a Roach drop in the main base of WhiteRa. HyuN pulling the army away, but there's only so much here. WhiteRa's going to try to position his forces to deal with this as well, but the Baneling drops. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to see this. This is going to be incredibly awesome to watch. Here he goes. The Roaches are moving in. The Overlords aren't dropping, though. He needs to back off. He's losing a lot of the Roaches to nothing, but he's going to move the Banelings in anyway. He has a bunch of Roaches actually lifted up as well. Here they come. The green goo blowing everything apart under the Overlords of HyuN, and the army for WhiteRa destroyed yet again. All of the tech units gone. There is an Immortal here, but an Immortal alone does not a victory make. And, well, this third base for WhiteRa looks like it's going to go down now. The Baneling getting into the mineral line. The Photon Cannons being destroyed. Some Zealots warped in. And the Overlords actually finished the rest of their dropping in the main. Acro runs a Contaminate on that robotics facility. Contaminate versus Chrono Boost. Wow, does Contaminate wear off faster when you Chrono Boost a building? I don't know. I almost want to just wait and see. That's a really interesting No, it doesn't. Okay. For some reason, that would have been awesome. But Roach drop in the main again, and he's just building up more forces. Look at this Zerg. This map is so Zerged up, so creeped. There's Overlords pooping everywhere. We have +2 attack about to finish up for WhiteRa. So he's finally going to get something, but I have to say, +2 attack's been done for quite a while for HyuN. He doesn't have any armor upgrades, but +1 will also finish soon, as well as Hydralisk speed. Things are looking a little bit grim for our Ukrainian Protoss player. He's moving in. There's the GG from WhiteRa. HyuN takes game number, I don't even know how many games that's been. Game number 8. We are going to move to the final game in this best of 9 series. Oh my goodness, I just tapped my music button. This is, oh my god. This has been a really sick best of 9. If you guys have missed any of this, I almost just feel sorry for you. This has been just such an awesome display of games. HyuN brings it 4-4. This is it, man. It's gonna come down to HyuN versus WhiteRa, one final map to decide who wins this this King of the Hill match and who gets $100. And let me tell you, these players definitely earned that $100. Wow. Looks like the next map is going to be Kespa Bifrost. We're going to play on Neo Bifrost. Oh, one of my favorite maps. This is going to be sick. I can't wait. Hope you guys can't wait.